Good morning, family. Back from another run. Um, just thought I would keep coming with another video talking about solutions for people in Africa. And today, what's on my mind is family finances. So, the idea that we go through our lives sort of with these prepackaged solutions for us. You get a job, you buy a house, you buy a car, you keep up with your neighbors. Um, it's just not working anymore, right? So if we look globally, we're having the same problems, but we discuss them differently. So if you follow, let's say, in 2024, I was following the elections all over the world. So you looked at the conversations that were being had in Botswana, the conversations that were being had in France, in England, in the US. And at the core of it is how finances or the economy are failing ordinary families. And here in South Africa, it's the same thing, right? And we're going to have to get very creative and very serious about our own finances. And as a finance professional myself, you hear a lot of people talk about finance being boring, you know, and if your own finances bore you, I'm sorry to tell you, it's just not gonna work out that well for you. You got to find a way to excite yourself with your own finances. And the there is no way for us to escape using a spreadsheet. And the reason I'm going to talk about this is I've gone through this journey with my wife where in our 20s we were drinking, we were partying, we were going out, we were spending a lot of money. And as we started exiting our 20s, getting into our 30s, we started getting serious about our finances. And I remember the first time I put a spreadsheet together just to try and figure out where our monies are, what's going on. And I did that spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, I saw, oh, if we plan around this, we can actually do a lot. At the time, we were staying in a 2-bedroom apartment in a golf estate in Joburg. And but we didn't have any furniture in that house. We had a couch that we bought when we just left varsity many years ago, and we just didn't have furniture. We didn't have a coffee table, we didn't have a dining table, anything. It was just a couch and a TV in a 2-bedroom house and a bed, you know. And within 3 to 6 months, we had redesigned the whole house and bought furniture cash, right? We didn't buy it on lay-by, we didn't buy it on credit. We bought cash. We just saved our money and bought. And because we're not looking at our finances, we're making money, so we didn't really look at our finances. It always just felt like we didn't have enough money. When you actually start looking at your finances, you start finding that there is money somewhere, right? And the spreadsheet helps you to put together a plan to spend your money as you need, because they're going to be competing interests. Your wife wants to go on holiday, you want to buy clothes and technology. You both want to make sure you have a great time when you go out, have dinners, go out partying or whatever. And so there are these competing interests. At the same time, you also want to save for the future. You also want to invest in a business somewhere. You want to be involved in something with your friends or something with your family. And so there are these competing interests. How do we sit around and discuss those, right? And what you need is a framework for how to make these decisions, right? What are we prioritizing now and why? Because at the end of the day, people break up over finances because they're not having the conversation of what are we prioritizing and why. That's where the relationship comes in. Okay, we're going to prioritize this because it affects your family, right? Your mother needs this. Okay, but that doesn't mean I get denied if we help your parents, right? It just means whatever I want, we just delay it over a period of time, right? And to make all of those decisions and understand how this decision affects that thing and how everything affects each other, you're going to need a spreadsheet. You can have apps and things that do all of these things, but A spreadsheet is a blank slate that gets you a big picture of your finances based on you. You're going to input the figures, you're going to input the numbers there, and you're going to see how it affects you. So we're now at a practice with my wife where we start planning for the next year. So now we're at October, November, December. We're planning next year. We're looking at seasonal things. When do we want to travel? When do we have birthdays, our anniversary, Christmas next year? Activities that we want to do, things that we want to invest in, right? Monies that we want to put into something else in terms of business, but also in terms of savings, right? And we look at the whole year and say, this is what we want to achieve. And we put that plan in place and we have that conversation up front. But as the year goes, we can make adjustments. We just go back to the same plan and say, okay, if we make this adjustment, how does it affect certain things? So we'll have certain non-negotiables. We need to save the X amount by the end of the year. We need to spend this much on marketing or whatever it is, right? We have family obligations that we have. That is non-negotiable, so that's set. But with the remaining amount, what can we move around? What can we do? And we then have that conversation. And we leave a little bit for spontaneous things, right? We have that conversation now before the year even starts. And we sit down and we plan and we look at each month and what's happening with our children, what's coming up, what season are they coming into, and how do we plan for a few years ahead. So we actually look at 3 years. Let me make sure I'm in the frame. We look at a 3-year period, right? So 3 years, but we concretize each year in the last 3 months of the previous year. So we concretize 2026 in these 3 months, but we have a view that shows us 3 years from now. So we have 2026, 2027, 2028, right? But we're concretizing 2026 now. 2027, 2028 is like a guide. Once you get your spending habits in check, then you can start talking about your income habits. Okay, how do we make more money? Sometimes you find out your income habits are bad because you spend too much money to make the money that you make, right? So for example, you want to start a business, you buy too much equipment. It's like that person when you want to go to gym, they go and buy all the latest gadgets, the watches, the things, and the outfit, they look good, they look amazing, and they're going to work out, but then they don't work out. And it's like, why did you spend all this money? If you're going to do something, do it for free, do it for cheap, right? And I remember when I first started running in 2017, 2018, right? I ran a 100-kilometer run, solo run, and I did most of that with my old tattered shoes because I just needed to get on the road and run. I had not run long distances before, so I started running 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers, 10 kilometers, all the way to 40 kilometers, right? I was running 100 to 160 kilometers a week with shoes with holes, right? I didn't buy anything until I was ready. And then when I started actually being serious about training for the 100-kilometer run, that's when I bought an expensive pair of shoes, a 2,000 Rand pair of shoes back then. So your income habits, you may find that every time you start a project, you invest too much money in the beginning. That's bad. The thing has to make money and then that it'll pay for itself. So invest as little as possible into what you're starting, right? You got to just bring energy and creativity into it. And this is something that, I found I did, where you start to look at your income habits. How much money did I make? Well, what did I spend on that, right? If you don't have a good framework for what you're spending and a good understanding and control of your finances from a spending perspective, you won't be able to see how your spending patterns are funding your income habits and how you can fix that and how you can get better at generating income for your family. So I just thought I'd talk to people about that. You gotta have a spreadsheet. There's so many fancy things out there. A spreadsheet is it. You gotta start with a spreadsheet. You gotta start somewhere. I can sell you I've got a free download that you can take, right? I've got a free download that I do for my business. You don't need to take it, but just think about it. It's better if you build your own. These templates that you get online, help you have a starting point to, sort of, how do you think about it? How do you have these conversations with your partner? What are we prioritizing and why, right? And what is our role in this, right? So a big thing was roles. In the beginning, who's going to run the finances? Who has the say? And whoever has the say, how are they making those decisions, right? So that's what our framework has gotten to now, where I do the finances, obviously, but I have to be cognizant of her needs and factor that in. So if she says she wants something, because I'm in charge of the finances, I can't now say, oh no, you can't have that. We can't do that. That's silly. I have to say, okay, we can afford it, but not right now. We can do it in 3 months' time, right? You want to buy a whole new kitchen set and all of this fancy stuff. Yeah, we can't buy that tomorrow, but we can buy it in the next 3 to 6 months. So let's design what we want our kitchen to look like now, and let's start buying the equipment over the next 3 to 6 months, right? So that framework helps to make sure that we're not always just fighting about our finances. We are discussing it in a healthy manner, right? And that's very important for you to be able to have healthy conversations around your finances. It's important for your children. It's important for your family. And once you achieve it, it's an incredible thing. So actually, let me plug my download. I'll put the link in the description for you to download the template that I have. It's free. It's just a starting point. It gives you a framework, and then from there you can then do your own thing and make it your own. So it's just something to help people out. And yeah, I guess I've spoken a lot. I'll see you guys on the next one.